etc. Okay. Oh yeah, no. We've got 2 people watching apparently. Okay. Jago left us. He's back. Gone off on my screen. There we go. I see some blue spinny things. It's probably coming back. There we go.
My video feed froze.
Yeah. Jago, stay still. Oh, this is a bit silly. We've got to do some complicated math. We could just pretend we,
And we're back. Sorry about that. Yeah, don't know what happened there. Stream disappeared. Hopefully everyone makes it across. I've posted a comment on the other stream. I've posted in the Discord, but if you know anyone that's missing, tell them where the new stream is. So frantically, quick, create a new stream. But we're all good. Here we are. Part 2. I think this is the perfect timing as well because we were about to move on. So I was talking a little bit. I just wanted to dabble in a bit of Unreal Engine just so that you can kind of see there are similarities between what you were using in Crayta and industry level software like Unreal Engine. And I was just talking about the content drawer, which looks pretty familiar. If you go to starter content and shapes, you'll find that it's pretty similar to the primitives that you're used to using in Crayta. There's also the meshes in the level prototyping area. So, there is similarities here. And just open up Unity as well. I'm going to close this now. Don't save that. Close this. And in Unity, similar stuff, right? So over here on the right-hand side, if I click on this cube, you'll see we've got an inspector. It's slightly different here because the hierarchy, which is what we would call the world tree in Crayta, is on the left. But it's the same thing, a list of things that are in your scene. You've got your viewport, as usual, your inspector, and you've got your assets down the bottom, which would be like that meshes, tab and stuff that would slide out from the left-hand side. So they're not a million miles away from the software you've been using. These are the main difference here is Crayta took care of sort of the look and feel for your game for you. So like you had meshes, you had primitives, you had all of that stuff already inbuilt. Whereas those packages, they don't necessarily have all of the the pre-made assets and all that kind of stuff. So there's places online if you're not into making your own ones of those. There's places online I'm sure you can find that can do that. And there's loads of people who would love to collaborate, and you can team up with other people to overcome some of the things that might be missing from them that Crayta had. That's where you can, jump in, collaborate with people. But don't be scared. Don't be scared of those pieces of software or all of the other game engines. Loads and loads of game engines out there. Don't be scared of trying them out, finding one that suits your style, that matches your skill set. Just give them a whirl if you're interested in, kind of maybe like taking your game development journey in that direction, which is just one of many, many directions that we've talked about. Cool. Should we move on? Let's move on. The next plan we were going to look at, if I'm still joined by my esteemed colleagues, Stuart and Jogo. Are you still here?
Yeah. We're still here.
The next
Frozen in time, but
I am still here. Yeah, I haven't moved since the started.
We all moved streams, so I guess there's that.
We didn't, did we? Oh. Not intentionally.
No, that wasn't intentional. But that was it made it interesting, right? Wake everyone up. Hey, we're moving streams. Get over here now. What we're going to do is we're going to now look at... Okay, so you've got this idea in your head about which direction you might want to go, or at least you're starting to think about it. You're questioning yourself. You've got this idea about all of the amazing skills, both in terms of soft skills and technical skills, that you can now not only use, but you can demonstrate to someone who might need someone who can do those things. How do you demonstrate how awesome you are with these things? This is where we're going to talk about show reels. And I'm so pleased because I've got Jogo on stream with me, and he's like a master of show reels. And together, me and Jogo and Stuart, we built a game together, which was featured on Rocket Beans TV. So we're going to go over to there, and we'll do a little bit of filming. Jogo, do you want to talk a little bit about, I guess the starting point of what you need to think about before you even start recording?
Okay, yeah. So the most important things we think everybody should do is start recording their work, so you have a record of what you created. Don't think about the idea that you're going to make one video or one little batch of assets, because you want to have a little portfolio of work and ways to record your work for the games that you've made in Crayta. You might want to have videos and assets that demonstrate to yourself, just as a wonderful record, a little of what you created. And you might also want other bits of recording that you could show to potential industry employers what you did. And sometimes those two types of videos and types of assets will be very different. So the most important thing to do is record a lot of footage in a variety of ways. One thing you want to do is record a lot of unedited natural gameplay. You won't have a chance to go back and get it in a couple of weeks, which, breaking our hearts as well, because we're going to lose playing all your games, which that's a real shame. But you can if you can record loads and loads of natural footage with multiple players in there or just yourself. It's a good idea if you can get multiple players, because obviously Crayta really specialised in these wonderful multiplayer games. So maybe on a Feedback Friday, you can just everybody jump into each other's games and you go from game to game to game and record what these games look like with loads and loads of people in them.
Yeah,
I think it's a look at. Go ahead, Andy.
I was going to say I'd just really emphasise team up to record your games, because if your games are well populated, have lots of people in lots of different outfits, lots of different styles running around, it really makes them sing, especially if it's like high octane, action-packed gameplay. But I think what Jogo was saying about like considering your target audience before you start even like recording. Who is it? Are you recording stuff for, you know, what are you recording stuff for? Are you making a show reel so that you've got memories? Are you making a show reel so you can exhibit a certain skill set? Is it for a recruiter? Is it for your friends? You know, to show them some of the amazing stuff? Is it for just remembering Crayta and, you know, having it on YouTube? So, yeah, thinking about...
Maybe it's skills that you want to pass on, when you could use it as reference to someone else who's asking you questions. You could answer, well, here's how I solve this problem, and show them some video footage of Crayta, that the games that you've created. So lots of different ways you can actually about what you need to capture.
Yeah. Once you've got an idea, you can choose. I think I kind of drew this distinction between two different types of filming. One is kind of cinematic, which is going to be, wow, isn't this incredible? Doesn't it look cool? And one is documentary, which is being like very particular about, this is how this thing worked. And it's really, I don't think that you do both at once, and it's better to know in your head, is this going to be a cinematic shot or is this going to be a documentation shot? So do I want to capture like how exciting this is, or do I want to capture how it works? And you can do both, but that's a really good starting point for thinking about how you're going to frame a shot and how you're going to film it. So just going to have a quick look at our comments. Yeah. So I dragged a certain someone here that has been crying over the death of Crayta. Oh, I'm so sorry. I'm sad. Yeah. Intermission. Yeah. I'm glad if you've managed to jump over, that's amazing. Yeah. Hopefully the other people that were joining us will find it. So what we thought we might do is kind of go through a bit of the process of setting up a shot. So in this game, should we just test it out and see if it works? Switch to preview, see what happens. So this game is kind of like it's a shooting game. The object of the game is to grab a briefcase and be the one that can hold on to the briefcase the longest. When you've got a briefcase, you've only got a pistol, but if you haven't got the briefcase, you can use a shotgun. So there's the briefcase. I'm going to grab it. So what could in terms of like filming this, notice immediately that this person isn't just shooting me. So I think we've learned quite a bit about filming stuff after filming games for, you know, the awards videos and things like that. We've learned a little bit about not just immediately playing the game, killing each other. Yeah, and
even when I'm shooting you, I'm shooting past you. I'm not aiming at you.
Yeah.
The also aiming this is not helping me.
So let's say we want to use show off the fact that when you shoot with a shotgun, the other person goes flying. So thanks, Joko. So as you can see, that's like quite an interesting and exciting mechanic that we might want to show off. So we could be thinking about this from a documentation kind of shot, where maybe we've got two people facing each other, or we could be thinking about it as a cinematic shot. So can I get my drone out? Let's see. This is hands down the most helpful thing you can do for yourself for filming, is turn the fly mode on your drones in every game you've made, regardless of if it breaks the game. It's going to be the most helpful thing for you to get really good footage. And let's say I want to record my screen, and I don't want the UI filling it up. If I press I on my keyboard, then I just get the cinematic shot. So no UI. I would very strongly recommend using a controller. It makes the camera movement smooth, and it makes it so much nicer. If you look at me when I'm when I use the mouse to move my camera around, it's all over the place. It can be really quick. And there is a little bit of inbuilt smoothing, but it's nowhere near as nice as smooth on the controller. So using your drone to sort of frame your shot, position it in a nice way. And then if you can join up on voice chat with other people that you're filming with, it's really helpful too, because you can be just saying action, and someone shoot, like Stuart shoot me. You can go, no, let's retake that. Can we all get back to the same place? Being able to talk to each other whilst you're filming, really helpful, but not always possible. Maybe I'm running around and I want to capture this. I notice I'm not like making it fancy. You can just run around. Don't forget, page up and page down can change how close you are to your character, so you can still play around with those ideas. And capture some nice footage of your game. Software wise, I tend to use, you've probably heard of OBS, Open Broadcast Software. It's free or donation, and you can essentially use it to record your screen. Generally, that's probably all you're going to need. There's plenty of other ways of recording your screen, including ones built into Microsoft Windows or built into Mac OS. So, there's other ways of recording your screen. But get your recording software down, and then, I would, from now on, if you're ever playing your games, I would just be recording, and then also schedule yourself a little bit of time to like properly record specific moments that you might want to capture, specific mechanics that you might want to capture.
There's some important tips about recording as well. Use the audio settings in Crayta and turn off music. Now,
Yeah, Marcus always
Matt
tells
is
us,
late.
to turn off our audio music.
Yeah, it's really, really important when you're recording. So you can still keep the sound effects on and the music off, because when you cut this together in iMovie or when some of the other bits of video edit software that Andy's going to come to, you'll be able to chop together, and then you can put a single music track over the top easily, and it'll sound really professional and really smooth and really good, rather than if you've got the music playing within the game, and as you chop it around, it'll just cut and make loads of nasty edits, or you'll just have to take all the sound off that completely, which might not be what you want. You might still want to have the sound effects, particularly if you've done a nice action game and there's explosions and zaps and all sorts of stuff going on. You might want to retain that for your video. Generally, turn the music off for your recording sessions.
Yeah, and also if you're going into your settings, while you're there, make sure that you've got your graphics at the best possible settings that you can have. If you can, get it up to 4K, record in the highest possible settings you can, because you can always downscale in software if after the fact, but you can't go back and necessarily get those amazing shots that you need to get. So, or try and remember to record in 4K. And another thing is, if you are just capturing your desktop audio, don't forget to turn off, other music you might have playing or notifications. Bear in mind, you can do a lot of that stuff in open volume mixer, and then you can literally just make sure that Crayta is the only thing that you can hear. So there's another helpful tip.
I think Andy alluded to this earlier, but when you're playing your game, particularly if something like a first-person shooter like this, play it as intensely as you would, because if Andy would be playing this naturally now, he'd be looking around wildly in every direction and moving extremely quickly, changing his direction every couple of seconds. It might be a little bit disorientating for people watching. Perfect example, thanks Andy. Yeah, it's really hard to see what's going on. If you just slow it down, you can still make the game look really exciting, really good, but just easier for a viewer to watch. So keep that in mind when you're recording your games. Play them for the actual viewer to watch. Again, we're talking about audience. Who's this for? So if you want other people to get it who've never seen the game before to actually get something out of it, then play it in a way that really demonstrates what it is to a viewer rather than to a player.
100%. Yeah. Like sort of a valuable way of doing that is not necessarily trying to shoot people, but trying to avoid doing this, like this whole zoom in thing. You don't need to do that. You're not actually trying to kill them. So maybe just tracking as well. So rather than looking everywhere, tracking specific points. So I'm looking at Stuart, now I'm looking over here. You know, you're not actually trying to survive. You're not actually trying to, you know, shoot anyone else. That's a really valuable point. Thanks, Jogo. Couple more sort of tips we have. Is this Stuart with the shotgun?
Yep.
So what I was talking about earlier with the setting up the shot, let me just get my camera fly mode on and sort of set up a documentation shot of how the shotgun might work. So I might shoot that like this so that I can get, this is like a documentation style. This will mean that I can get the detail of the fact that he shot the shotgun, the bullets hit me, and then I've been catapulted to the other side exactly like that. Now, an alternative way to shoot that and a more cinematic way, that's when you can get really fun and really creative, and you can start to experiment maybe with different angles, different ideas. Think about action films you've seen and, you know, creative choices made by the directors there. If you're not like interested in, you want your thing to look good, but you're not interested in becoming the next most amazing director, you can always borrow the ideas for shots from films and things and other games that you've seen.
Hey, Andy, I've got an idea. Let's head over to this gantry where I'm standing now so we can all see the big rocket, because we could get some really great cinematic shots of us there, and we can talk a little bit about setting them up.
Nice, yeah. Do you want to do that, actually? Do you want to direct, Jogo?
So I'm going to, since you're the editor, you could turn your drone on now. And if you're doing these sort of art captures, the most important things you can do is you go into your camera settings and change the field of view to a much smaller field of view, like a 55-degree field of view, and get a lot less in the shot, but everything will really pop a lot more. Now, if Andy moves that around, the camera around, so it's looking over one of the character's shoulders, for example, over his shoulder, or better still, over my shoulder, so we can actually see that rocket in the background, you can get some really nice shots. You can just move that camera around to compose it really nicely. You just look for the shots that really show off your artwork and add a little bit of depth. And if you Andy, if you move that sort of closer to one of our shoulders.
Oh,
the game finished. But
and that's another tip.
Just as you were getting there, but there was just that last shot. I mean, we'll set that up again, but let's all head up to that same gantry so we can.
Yeah, let's head over there.
I'm near there anyway.
Shot.
I can't remember how to get there. It's fine. I only designed the level.
Andy, yeah, you built this level. You should know where you're going.
Yeah. I'm in position. But using that sort of field of view, particularly when you're doing this sort of beauty pass footage capturing, you're using your drone and not really trying to demonstrate the game as it plays, you can get some really, really lovely shots set up that really demonstrate the character, the scale of the environments, the detail in the environments, because all those details might actually come out really, really beautifully if you reduce the field of view. It's a classic photographic technique.
Shout out to the thirds grid as well, if you're looking for composing, trying to get something on the 2/3 line, like the golden ratio, or framing it so that the right thing is in the center of the shot. this thirds grid can really help.
Yeah, so with this shot, you'd probably put one of those thirds right over the back of Andy's character and push that camera right in. It would look really great. So that's something you should experiment with. So that's something you can really play with to create interesting, dynamic looking in shots of the game. If I draw my gun now on Andy, from his point of view, it should end up looking pretty nice. And yeah, that's some really nice stuff that Andy's doing there, like shooting through bits of geometry.
Yeah, I for some reason my controller's not quite on, but doing this really slowly with the controller, like panning up, panning across, and even getting a bit experimental. The fact that you can fly through and in anywhere gives you so much creative freedom for telling a story and showing off your game, the thing that you made. And you can use this for exploring mechanics like this, but don't forget also you've got your amazing level that you've created. So some of the environment art, nice smooth panning shots. And if you want a bit of inspiration, you can take a look at some of the Crayta winners announcements videos. There's some shots in each one. You'll see, generally speaking, there's some kind of panning sort of establishing shot which shows the game before going into a nice detailed, this is a really cool part of the game. And that was on purpose, those creative decisions were on purpose. So Mark, the video artist, who's been with Crayta, he's just awesome at sort of knowing what's going to make a game really stand out, really look good, and then sending us to go and get it. So, yeah, if you've got any questions around setting up shots or anything like that, more than happy to talk about it some more. Just some ideas of software that you might need. So I've talked about OBS already for screen recording. There's not much more out there that I would say is better than that, and it's free, so it's probably worth looking into. But you can also experiment with different editing programs. You've got the big professional suites like Adobe Premiere, but you'll also find there's plenty of free suites like iMovie is free on a Mac, and Shotcut, and even if you like your command line, I'm looking at you, Daigoro. If you like your command line, maybe you could put a video together using just FFmpeg, which is a library that a Node.js library you can use, and you can just splice things together. If you're into that.
This is wrong. This is terrible. Don't make a video using a command line. Why are we saying this to these people? We like them.
Something
we
I
like
would
them.
do.
What are we doing?
That's something I would do, but don't feel like you have to do that.
We were also saying about how we could cut them together as well.
Yeah, we did talk a little bit about that. What was that, Stuart?
Well, an important thing is don't overdo your editing. So just make sure you've got those shots in a nice order that make some sense. Maybe try to match them up to a particular music track or something like that. We were saying don't go overboard with the effects. Don't use wipes and things like that. Just a nice fade or a simple.
No wipes.
No wipes.
No wipes. Just a simple
No
fade.
wipes.
Or just changing to a white or a black shot for like a couple of frames, and then your next bit of footage.
Yeah, like I guess maybe like a little fade if you're changing context, like you're changing the game. But like you can just back to back the shots. If you don't want to have to make those creative decisions, you can just put them right next to each other. Good point, Stuart.
One other thing to capture. A lot of your games, you've made loads and loads of wonderful custom UI. Don't forget to capture that. Don't forget to capture it actually in use. It's not often as glamorous and exciting as some of these big explosive action scenes, but it's really important part of the fabric of your game, the way you communicated ideas to your players. And a lot of your UI stuff is really incredible. So make sure you capture that. Make sure you capture it in use, not just in static screenshots. So you can. Yeah. It's really important. It can be a really important part of your game. And as we were talking a little bit about earlier, UI designer is a really, really important job.
They're really hard to come by as well.
Yes, there's not enough of them. Goodness me. So
if you can prove that you can do it,
yes,
that would be a good opportunity.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
no, Andy, go ahead. You speak.
Okay. I was going to talk about a couple more things. So in Crayta, you can use cameras. There's a tutorial on how to use cameras, and that can be quite a nice way to sort of set something up. If you go into create in your games and then set up cameras, you can then use that to frame the same shot over and over again. And you could even do some things with NPCs. Like if you can't get a group together and you still want to film some part of your game world but populated, don't forget there's NPC packages with NPCs walking around. There's cameras, there's camera packages to make things a little bit easier. There's a tutorial if you look for if you just search for Crayta tutorial cameras in YouTube, you will find a tutorial on it. So yeah, don't hesitate to also use the stuff that you can use to make games to also make your videos. Don't forget about the skills that you've got there to do that. I think that was pretty much the last point we wanted to talk about, really.
Yeah.
Is there anything else?
No, I was just going to say we really use those NPCs well with recording our footage recently. It used to be that we had to get big groups together, and now we can. Now we can rely on NPCs to just repeat the actions that we want, and it makes filming a lot easier.
Yeah, with the trailers we did for Harrowing High and Tabletop Champs, there wasn't a single other live player in it. It was all NPCs, and it's worth watching those back because every single shot in those two trailers was made in editor, just using exactly the same tools that are available to everybody in the live game, and almost every camera was single point to point. Didn't go on a complicated spline, didn't fly around the world 50 times, and it just went from point to point. And it's a very, very easy way to make effective, nice, clean footage. Just take the camera from one point to another. Don't try and get too complicated. It's really, really hard chucking a camera around in 15 different degrees and 15 angles. So, bit simple. Start and finish points is more than enough.
Yeah, and you can just set those up into different shots, right? So you could have one camera move to one point, record it a couple of times, do the same thing, and just move where the camera point beginning and end is. Psychosis made a good point earlier about there's free assets on Unreal Marketplace, but there's also things like Humble Bundle that sometimes does free guides or even assets as well. As in you pay what you want for them, and obviously some of it goes to charity, so if you can throw a bit of money to charity, that's great. But there's a low cost stuff there for you to be able to make your games. Yeah,
it's a good point. There is those packages out there. Thanks, Psychosis. That's a really good point. Usually you can get a real mixture, can't you, Stuart? Of, like 3D models or 2D sprites or whatever it is you might want to do. Sometimes they can be really inspiring as well, start you on a journey to make a game that you didn't really think you were going to make.
Because you've suddenly got the assets to do it. You can just start prototyping with those assets and get some cool gameplay in there as well. So I think we've pretty much touched on most of the stuff that we wanted to talk about. The video part of it, I can't stress this enough, is get into groups and go and record each other's games, and just so that you can remember this and remember what you made in Crayta, if nothing else.
if you do post them on YouTube before sort of the end of before the 3rd of March, please shove them in the Discord so that we can watch them. It's just so nice to, it's just lovely to be able to celebrate how amazing you've all made Crayta. So if you do make a show reel, or you start recording, or you just have a little bit of recording, post it so that we can have a look. And we did talk a little bit about, you don't have to make just one show reel. You could make a video around each of the games that you made. You could make a video just on a specific mechanic that you iterated on, improved in different games. Think about, maybe not necessarily just having like a 15-minute long show reel, but maybe 90-second long bite-sized chunks that you can share with people. And, you probably find that if you force yourself to have shorter clips, you'll probably choose the most exciting and dynamic shots and the most sort of well-equipped shots to explain what you're talking about. Don't hesitate to break it out into smaller clips.
Also, you can tap me up in Discord as well. I'd be really happy to offer you more advice and talk about how I've captured footage. So just drop your questions into Discord and I'd be really happy to help.
Yeah, maybe we can start sharing clips in the Looking for Feedback channel, and you can ask for feedback on clips as well.
Yeah.
As well as the games that you've made. So, if you shoot something, if you make a show reel and you want some feedback on it, you want to know how to improve it, don't hesitate to, that's really kind of you, Jogo, to, plop it in the Discord somewhere, looking for feedback maybe, and see, we can take a look, suggest some things. It'll probably be awesome. Don't worry.
It's easier than you think.
Yeah.
Easier than you think. It's also easier to get it wrong, but it's easier to get it right as well.
So before we sort of depart, because we've sort of touched on everything we wanted to talk about, has anyone got any questions, any thoughts, any ideas? And if you have, please drop them in the comments below. If you have think of something after this stream that you want to talk about, drop them in the comments, drop them in Discord. And we can chat it through. I guess for me, it's kind of it's been a bit of a privilege to be able to take on this stream of continuing your game dev journey and being involved in this stream. And it's just been I just hope that all of the amazing creator community know just how amazing they are, and they don't, they make the most of the last of this time we've got with Crayta to be able to create records of this awesome time we all had together.
Well said, Andy. Well said.
Yeah. There's also going to be a Games Career Week on the 26th of March, I believe. Or there was one on the 26th of March. I think there's another one still planned.
Games Career Week.
So that's worth looking up.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry, that's the 20. That was for 2021, but I think there is one every year, so it's worth looking out for those. Yeah,
if you're interested in breaking into the industry. Don't forget, we've got Best of Crayta UGC stream. That's next week on Wednesday at 6:00. And then on the closing day on Friday, the 3rd of March, which is when Crayta servers will be closed and Crayta is closed for good. There will be a farewell stream on that day. So please don't forget to check out those streams, jump into the games. I'm really looking forward to jumping in to play some games next week. I think AJ is going to be mainly streaming next week for playing one last round of playing games all together. And then on the last day, there'll be a lot of different exciting things going on in that final stream, just a real nice sort of farewell to Crayta. So don't hesitate. Don't forget, if you want to see those and you're not subscribed yet, you can subscribe to the Crayta channel so that you can make sure you get those notifications. Join us on the Discord. If you're new here, go over to Discord, discord.gg/Crayta, and look at some of the incredible stuff that people have made and the hilarious bugs especially that one with, like, what is it, naked avatars that just keeps coming back.
I've
It
recorded
looks
at
like
least one of
everyone
those.
got footage of that.
I have never got footage of that. I've never even seen it.
And the one where somebody's sliding across the floor when they're meant to be sitting as well. That was excellent. I love that one.
Or NPCs sliding through the hub. That's one of my favourites.
Or just teleporting to random places in the hub without us telling them to. Like on top of buildings.
A lot of people pointed out that the NPCs in the showcase worlds used to walk sideways. So, favourites. Love that.
I really liked when there was the robot showcase. It was like community. Was it? No, it wasn't. It was the Cybertanica robot showcase in the hub. And they would
robot.
They would break out
Yeah.
and make their way out into
Just
the.
slide. Yeah.
Find her on top of awnings and all over the place.
These were good.
These
Yeah,
were
stay in touch with us
days.
all. If you got any fun footage you want to share, as well as cool footage of your own games, please let us know. Let us see it. And I'm going to say this, I've never got a chance to say this before. Smash that like and subscribe button. You won't
Ding
miss
the
a thing.
notification bell.
I don't have an air horn. I don't have an air horn.
All right, everyone. It's been a real pleasure. Thank you so much for your contributions. Hopefully this has been useful and interesting. It doesn't stop here. This is the end of Crayta. This isn't the end of your game dev journey. So keep going. Keep making incredible things, and incredible things will happen. So yeah, just keep going. And I look forward to seeing you in Crayta. And I look forward to seeing what you make next in whatever it is you choose to make it in. And yeah, it's been lovely. And I'll see you all soon. Take care.
See you later.
Everybody.
Bye-bye.